We all need a safe space. Whether you're a teenager or a young adult, you have this longing of wanting to belong somewhere you feel comfortable enough to truly be yourself. Let's call the safe space home. Home is that safe space where you feel loved and constantly reassured that you matter. And oftentimes, as humans, because of our undying need for connection and belonging, we build our homes in other people. In today's episode, we'll be talking about true belonging and building your home within yourself. Make sure you listen to the end. Welcome to Healthy Minds Talk, a podcast created to help you grow, bring awareness to mental health, and also remind you that it's not all in your head. There's hope, even when your brain tells you there isn't. I'm Praise Victor, and I remain your host on this show. Take a trip down memory lane with me. Years back, when I was still a teenager in high school, I hated being lonely. Now, I'm not saying that anyone likes being lonely on a normal day, but I desperately wanted to belong somewhere. I wanted people's validation of my existence to verify my self-worth. I wanted to mean something to someone or a friend group before I meant something to myself. So, in the process of trying to belong and give meaning to my existence, I became a people pleaser. And that's what feeling homeless is like. Feeling homeless is you giving other people the love, care, self-respect, and support you don't give yourself just to prove your self-worth. It's you giving your love to people and evaluating your self-worth based on how well they receive that love. And when they end up leaving you or treating you wrongly, you make yourself believe that you are unworthy of love. You feel empty and homeless because you gave them everything you should have invested in yourself. So how can you change this? How can you build your home within yourself? Now, building your home within is something you need to do independently without searching for external forms of validation. Building your home within yourself means you have an independent sense of belonging and you don't define yourself in comparison with others. When you build your home within yourself, you stop begging people to fill the voids that you feel on the inside. You stop looking to people as shelters for the scattered pieces of yourself. You stop looking at people as the missing piece in your life and you stop needing people to complete you. You feel like you're a half and then you need another person to be your other half to feel complete. And from my experience, building your home within yourself and just doing all of this right, you need to accept yourself first. We've always accepted ourselves based on external influences and achievements. We make decisions based on what gives us instant gratification. We yield to the self that is acceptable to our environment and not our authentic self. Self-acceptance tells you that your self-worth is not conditioned by your circumstances. It's the recognition and acknowledgement of your entire being, which includes both your positive and negative attributes, your strengths and your limitations, the best and the supposedly worst parts of you. Now, what steps can you take to accept yourself? For me, I'd say step one is knowing yourself. Before you can accept yourself, you have to know yourself, right? And to know yourself, I want you to ask yourself these questions. Who am I when I'm alone? What do I value outside the world's standards? What do I feel represents my authentic self the most? Am I projecting my authentic self to the world? Or am I projecting what I think is acceptable? Get to know yourself and what you want. You define you. To accept yourself, you should feel good about everything that makes up your entire being. The second thing I want you to do is listen to yourself. We live in an age where different voices dictate to us what's right and what's wrong. So don't pressure yourself to do what everybody else is doing or what they tell you to do. Do what serves you best. I want you to listen to your needs and desires and just take actions to meet them. Also, I want you to love yourself. Stop defining the love you deserve based on external sources. Love yourself the same way you'd love the best person in your life. You should actually be like the best person in your life, honestly. Don't meet other people's emotional needs at the detriment of your own. You are worthy of the same love that you give to others. The fourth thing I want you to do is forgive yourself. Learn to separate the mistakes you've made from your identity. Everybody makes mistakes, but you shouldn't define yourself by the mistakes you make. Instead of wallowing in self-hatred, I want you to focus on the learning experience. The feeling of home is the feeling of I'm together with myself. I know myself. I know who I am, not what other people say I am. And I don't have to look to others for stability. So I want you to ask yourself, what do you call home now? Are you happy there? Nejwa Zebian defined home as where your soul feels it belongs, where you can unapologetically be yourself, where you are loved for your authentic self. Home is that place where you don't have to work hard just to be loved. So where do you call home now? Is it in another person or a friend group? Or are you comfortable with who you are, with what you represent, without needing anybody's validation? Before I go today, I'm going to tell you a few things you need to always remember to help you realize that you do not need other people's approval. The first thing I want you to always know is that other people do not determine your worth and value. It's your life, not theirs. They are responsible to themselves for their life, and you are responsible to yourself for your life. So, don't give up yourself just to please someone else. Also, people change. People have different values and outlooks of how they want things, and it is simply impossible to please everyone at the same time. Recognize that spending your life trying to make other people happy by pleasing them and ignoring your own needs is a recipe for failure and low self-esteem. It's a pointless way to spend your life. And in the process of you trying to make other people happy at the detriment of your own emotional needs, you stop yourself from being happy and true to yourself. I want you to be kind to yourself. Understand that we all have weaknesses and things that we regret saying or doing, and that's okay. I mean, nobody's perfect. So if anyone tries to shame you or put up your weakness in your face as a way to hurt you, at least you are aware that, okay, I'm not perfect at this thing, but I'm growing. And if you're self-aware and you know yourself so well, I'm so sure that no one can use what they term as your weakness against you, because you know that you are on a growth journey and you are walking through to become a better person. I want you to understand that we are all on the same journey. We are all on a journey, probably not on the same journey, but some people's journey is harder and more challenging than others, and probably you're dealing with some obstacles that no one has had to face. And when you try talking about it, they do not understand, or they don't see from your point of view or perspective. That's okay. You don't have to force anybody to understand what you're going through before you feel like what you're going through is valid. Develop your self-esteem from within. Decide on the type of person that you want to be and work on being true to that. Think about what really matters to you and the different goals you'd like to achieve, and set these as a priority. Decide what you want to do instead of worrying about what others would like you to do. Develop a plan for the direction of your life. Focus your thinking, energy, choices, and decisions around living a life that is meaningful to you and you alone. At the end of each day, check to ensure that you've done something that is taking you in that direction of who you see yourself as, or of who you represent. Work on developing your self-reliance so that, although yes, it is nice to also have help and support from other people, but do not be dependent on that. It's very important for you to be able to think, act, and choose for yourself, and be accountable to your actions. This will help you increase your self-confidence. Work on accepting, valuing, and loving yourself. Appreciate the good things about you. Notice your successes and any moves that you make towards living out your goals and becoming the real you, and celebrate them. Choose to live in the moment and make a decision today not to keep going over the past or worrying too much about what lies ahead. I think I talked about that in the last episode. If you haven't listened to that, go and listen now. And just notice and focus on the present. The past is gone. And although you cannot see the future, but at least you're present in this moment, and that is enough for you to take the next step that you need to make to be the person that you want to be. And one of my favorite authors, Brené Brown, she said, true belonging does not require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. Now, the first step to truly being yourself without worrying about fitting in is to stop people pleasing. Now, coming from a former people pleaser, because I used to please people a lot when I was around my teenage years, 16, 17, 18, I was a huge people pleaser. But if you actually do want to stop people pleasing, if you want to stop doing things you're not okay with, but you still do them just because you're scared, you wouldn't be accepted again, or you're just scared of saying no to people, you just want to do stuff for them even though you're not okay with, I want you to know that the only way, probably not the only way, but the major way you can actually stop this is to have boundaries. Do you know that you slowly lose your identity when you continue people pleasing? I mean, you keep on compromising your beliefs and standards for people, and you still end up unhappy and unsatisfied. I don't know if you've heard this before, but it is not actually selfish to do what's best for you. Whenever you catch yourself almost people pleasing again, I just want you to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I come first. If I'm not okay with this, I'm not doing it. You don't have to keep on pouring from your emotional cup to others and meeting other people's emotional needs at the detriment of your own. I think I've said this before. You can still be a caring person and still be firmly rooted in what you stand for. I mean, boundaries, you create boundaries actually for you, not for the other person. Boundaries are limits that we set for ourselves. Everyone's boundaries are different, and boundaries are just basically based on what's personally important to us. And you can have boundaries in different aspects of your life, like in your workplace, your relationships, your family, and other areas of your life that you have relationships with other people. Boundaries can be physical or emotional limits that help to determine your comfort level, your needs, and your preferences. They dictate how you want, or boundaries actually dictate how you want and how you allow yourself to be treated by others. Healthy boundaries they allow for accountability, respect, and open communication. Now, healthy boundaries sound like valuing your own opinion, effectively communicating your needs and wants, respecting limits that you set or that others set. I mean, if you want people to respect your boundaries, you have to respect other people's boundaries. And, you also have to accept it when people say no to you, or when they disagree with something you have to say. You should not, boundaries sound like not compromising your own values for someone else. And it's been able to identify also when a boundary that you set has been broken. Now, setting boundaries may take time and practice because, trust me, you cannot just wake up one morning and be an entirely different person with boundaries set and all. I mean, you are used to the lifestyle of pleasing people. So it would be kind of difficult to start setting boundaries and actually taking them seriously. You have to take the boundaries you set for people seriously before they can actually take you seriously. So I want you to identify what behaviors from others is acceptable for you and what might cause discomfort. I also want you to clearly communicate your boundaries to others. Learn to say no, learn to be assertive with your opinion. And you have to remain confident in what you stand for. And also, you decide what to do when someone breaks your boundaries. Is it that you let them know that, okay, I said that I wasn't okay with this, but then you still went ahead to do it? And you just open up and tell the person that I set this boundary. I let you be aware that, okay, this was a boundary that I am not going to compromise on, but they still broke that boundary. And whatever happens next, happens. Examples of healthy boundaries sound like you telling someone not to take your stuff without your permission. I personally hate that. Like, I put my stuff somewhere and you did not ask me for permission and you go ahead to take it. I don't like that. So, if you want to set that kind of boundary, you just let probably your roommate or whoever it is that is fond of taking your stuff without your permission, tell them that, own up, just have the courage. They're not going to beat you, they're not going to bite you. It is your stuff. You decide how you want it to be treated. So you just walk up to them calmly and tell them, I don't like it when you take my stuff without my permission. I'm not saying you're not allowed to use my stuff, but ask me first. That is an example of a healthy boundary. Another example of a healthy boundary is you telling people stuff you're not comfortable with, or you just telling a friend or your roommate. I don't know why I keep using this roommate example. I do not have a roommate, but you just telling your friend or someone close to you that you need some time alone whenever you get home, and that's okay. It's okay to have alone time. Sometimes you just want to reconnect with yourself in solitude. That's totally fine. Another example of a healthy boundary is probably you have a friend that finds it hard to express themselves, such that probably when they are angry they kind of yell at you. You can just tell them that you want them to talk and tell you how they really feel, but it is not okay for them to yell at you or slam things or break things. That is harmful, very toxic. You just have to, the point of it all is just letting people know the stuffs you are okay with and what you are not okay with. Let me see if I can find other examples of healthy boundaries. Okay, there's this example here that says, I would no longer allow myself to be overlooked, ignored, or treated as if my life does not matter. I have feelings, I have wants, and I have needs, and they are important. If you cannot begin to see that my life is important to me, our relationship will not be the same. And that is just a very, very good example of you setting a boundary and telling a person that you are important. And if they're not ready to actually see your self-worth, you don't have to beg them or compromise your standards and be like another version of yourself that is only acceptable to them, you have to own up and tell them that it is not okay that they don't see you for who you really are. They don't see your self-worth. They don't see what you're capable of. They don't see your strengths. And it's okay for you to tell them that if they're not ready to see that's just going to be the end of the friendship or the relationship. And that is totally fine. I really hope today's episode has helped you find a way to truly belong and to build your home within yourself. And also, do not forget that boundaries are for you. You set boundaries to assert what is important to you and to set a standard for how you want to be treated. So find a way to start setting a boundary today. Know what's important to you. Know how you want to be treated. Be aware of that change that you want in that friendship or relationship. And be unapologetically you. Even if you're different, that is fine. Well, that's it for today's episode, guys. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, share with your friends, family, or co-workers, or whoever you think would enjoy this episode too. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at This My Little World and on Twitter at Healthy Minds. See you next week Monday, where we're going to be talking about existential crisis. Yep. It's basically just feeling like your existence is pointless, or you thinking that you have no purpose in life. And you know what? Let's wait till next week Monday, and we are definitely going to get into that. See you guys next time.